Hello and welcome to Horror Needs a Hero. I am CP. When a person thinks of famous movie killers, only three names really come to mind in the last 30 years or so. Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers. This is why we were called in to help Bob with his review of Is that a fucking typo?
Hey CP, what's up?
I think there's a typo in the script you sent me. It says you're doing Halloween 3, Season of the Witch?
You nailed it.
So wait, you asked for the Horror Needs a Hero guys in doing a review for the Halloween film that doesn't feature one of the major horror heroes.
Well, there's that one bad guy, the weird Celtic businessman.
The show is Horror Needs a Hero, not Horror Needs a Weird Celtic Businessman. Dude, wrong movie.
Whoa. You told me that this was an intro for a Halloween movie review.
He's reviewing Halloween 3.
Seriously, guys, think about it. That weird Celtic businessman is more of a horror hero than Jason, Michael, and Freddy combined.
You suck.
Released October of 1982, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch is the most notorious film in the Halloween franchise. John Carpenter was done with the Halloween series and agreed to make another film with the understanding that not be a continuation, but rather another horror movie with the backdrop of Halloween. With the ending of Halloween 2, which was co-written by Carpenter, it was clear that he was done with the Michael Myers character. Tommy Lee Wallace was promoted from production designer and editor to director. The goal was to turn the Halloween franchise into an anthology series.
I take no responsibility for Halloween 3 or credit. I had nothing to do with it. They just sent me a nice fat check. The decision not to use the Michael Myers character was stupid. It was really ill-advised. We now know that Michael Myers is the backbone of this whole franchise. And why they decided to leave that, I do not know. I was not consulted.
The critical reception of the film was brutal. Roger Ebert gave it a low 1.5 stars. It currently holds a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. The description on that site states the film has nothing to do with the previous entries outside the name. However, since that was the goal of the filmmakers, I fail to see how that's really a negative. After all, this movie has tons of other negatives to make fun of. Daniel has a friend that works at the same hospital he does named Teddy. He asked Teddy to investigate the guy who blew up in the car outside the hospital. But much like Tilly Masterson, Teddy seems to have an interesting role in the story, but actually serves no purpose. This character could be easily written out. Only thing she contributes is the idea that the villains aren't human, which I'll get to later, believe me. At best, her use is to get Daniel interested into looking into Cochrane, which he was already doing. So, what's her point again?
Someone made a colossal boo-boo.
I'm used to this, but still dislike the romance in many James Bond movies. Frequently, it will just happen because he's James Bond and he's the lead character. But seriously, here, Ellie just decides to hook up with Daniel because reasons, I guess. There's no noteworthy chemistry between these two characters. So is she just turned on by his rugged good looks? Is this some sort of rule that anybody you get a hotel room with, you have to sleep with?
I didn't hurt it. Hey, sorry about that. Glad it didn't hit you.
Oh good, I was concerned there wouldn't be any stupid comic relief family in this movie. Thank God these people are here. With how this family's portrayed, even though their death seems quite tragic and dark, I couldn't be happier to get rid of them. Stay tuned because in a couple more movies we get some wacky cops with some wacky music to come along with them.
All clear.
Nothing above, nothing below.
It's what we're here for.
Rescue cats.
Find dogs.
That's our job.
And we love it.
It's not uncommon for horror movies to have themes. Everybody recognizes these themes. One interesting theme that most of these movies handle is that Kevin Bacon must die at about the midway point. However, this movie tackles different themes than your average horror film. One interesting theme, and one theme that's really weird and just weighs down the movie. Fear of technology. Part of it is the television and the mask, which is weird because the masks are a rather primitive piece of technology, but they make sure that you know they use technology to make them bad. And I can forgive those elements because they do play a role in a more central theme. The element that plays solely to the fear of technology theme is the villain's robot army. Why does he have a robot army? What is the point? From a story standpoint, there's none. From a theme standpoint, it's flimsy as hell. It falls apart primarily because the technology in this movie all functions properly. The villain's set up, and it's simply doing its job. Fear the technology that's doing exactly as it's told. Sounds rather not scary when you put it that way, doesn't it? The movie would be better with Cochrane's Celtic tribe as henchmen or something like that. Robots are just too far out of left field and just goofy. Beware mask, television, and lifelike robots because witchcraft. Not the best logic I've ever heard by a long shot. At best, it's the average logical argument of your typical Fox News pundit.
In fact, they've made Sam Wilson, who was formerly the Falcon, he's an African-American. He's taking over as Captain America now, but he's got a new odd enemy. Instead of going against Hydra and the typical Captain America villains, he's going up against conservatives. That's his new enemy.
So who is this serpent? Is this serpent an Islamic extremism, an ISIS member bent on destroying Western civilization? No. The serpent is an American who has misgivings about unlimited illegal immigration and the costs associated with it.
Morons, your bus is leaving.
This movie starts 8 days from Halloween. Then, about 17 minutes into the movie, we're told it's 1 day later, and that's totally fine. Then, about 2 minutes later, we get another time jump of 3 days. Then, about a minute after that, we get another time jump of 2 days. Why are they jumping ahead so quickly? It just feels weird. It'd be one thing if this was based on a true story, but this is a fictional story. And at no point is it even trying to sell itself as a true story. I mean, for God's sakes, our main protagonist is fighting robot monsters in this movie. If they couldn't think of anything for them to do every day, they shouldn't write the story that starts so many days ahead. It's a tricky balancing act. Without the title of Halloween 3, this movie likely would never have been made. However, with the title of Halloween 3, everyone was ready to see the continuing adventures of Michael Myers. After all, Halloween 2 was so fresh in everyone's memories, having been released just the previous year. Perhaps the anthology idea would have worked if this was the second Halloween movie, but this was the third. People already saw 2 Halloween movies starring the same horror hero. It's hard to place yourself back then and not see how people were disappointed. And when looking at the series as a whole, Season of a Witch sticks out like a sore thumb. Perhaps it would have been better if the movie was somehow set in the same universe. Say, the same hospital Daniel works at is the same one Michael Myers died in. Perhaps people would have been more accepting of that. Of course, the movie didn't take that route. Instead, the movie took the route of constantly reminding people that the original Halloween movie is not part of this universe by having it play on TVs. That's practically telling people in the theater, we know what you want. Tough shit.
The Immortal Classic, followed by the big giveaway.
I know the popular thing would be to hate and trash this movie. I used to think this movie was fine, just in the wrong franchise. And now I have to say I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. Sure, it doesn't have Michael Myers, and it probably shouldn't have included the original Halloween in this film. But as a standalone horror film, it's fairly creepy. And honestly, after seeing all the Halloween movies, I think this was probably a better idea for the series rather than the continuing adventures of Michael Myers.
Wanna fuck with me? Huh? Fucker.
This movie has a theme much better than robots are bad, and it's that parents should always be involved in their kids' lives and that television makes a terrible babysitter. The main protagonist, Dr. Daniel Chalice, is divorced. Daniel spends the movie coming up with excuses not to see his children.
Hello, Linda, Dan. I won't be able to pick the kids up tonight. Something...
Damn it, you promised, Dan.
They literally have one scene at the beginning where he attempts to give them Halloween masks. They are disinterested because the masks the TV told them about are of course much cooler.
What's the matter? Don't you like them?
Mom already got us mask. Silver Shamrock, look!
But the television isn't there out of the goodness of its circuits. It's there to sell stuff. It doesn't want to raise a generation of children who are educated and thoughtful. The television wants a generation of consumers. At the end of the movie, when Daniel's trying to warn his family of the danger, his wife is quick to ignore him in favor of the television. After all, the television has been there for her when he hasn't.
Linda, listen, you have to get rid of the mask. Just...
You want me to what? You're just jealous because...
Linda, listen.
Go to hell.
That's where the ending comes into play. Can the parents stop the child from becoming just another consumer? The literal death in the movie could represent the death of the children's future. Dr. Chalice representing a parent who has more or less abandoned his children and has to try to save the children who have long since given up on him. Yet now that he realizes the complete error of his ways, he'll continue to fight for them until he gets through. Shockingly, the ambiguous ending can be seen as one of hope. He'll continue to fight until he wins them back. Of course, just because this is a well thought out doesn't make this a perfect piece of cinema by any means. It's got plenty of problems that I've already gone over and plenty more that I haven't. Still, I enjoy this movie and find it quite creepy. I give it a 7 out of 10 and recommend giving it a shot if you haven't seen it in a while. Just don't think of it as part of the Halloween franchise. Treat it as its own entity, and it's a solid horror flick.
Hey dude, I heard you were working on a video for Halloween 3, and I would love to work with you on that, because after all, my dad has a role in the movie.
Oh yeah, dude, that's a really cool connection to this movie. Just, I was hoping to work with bigger YouTubers, you know, guys with at least 200 subscribers.
You suck!
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Ksenia Sergeyevna Onatop.
Onatop?
Onatop.
Hey, if you like this video, please make sure to hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe. That helps me out a lot. And if you really love this video, consider visiting my Patreon page.
You know what I was thinking? Since you guys do Horror Needs a Hero and I do lots of superhero stuff, we need to do a whole bunch of crossovers. After all, we've already seen what happens when Ant-Man fights Michael Myers. What we need to do is get more superheroes into horror movies. Maybe we could have a crossover between Freddy and Spider-Man, or Captain America, or Batman, or Superman, or Iron Man, or Thor, or Wonder Woman, or Black Panther, or Billy the Street, or Matter-Eating Lad, or Supergirl, or Superboy.
For Horror Needs a Hero and Bob Needs a Lobotomy, I'm CP.
Or